HMS Birkenhead was a paddle steamer ship that began sailing in 1845. In 1852, the Birkenhead was en route to South Africa with around 690 passengers on board. Approximately half of them were soldiers. South Africa was experiencing internal conflict then, and these soldiers were being sent to support British interests in the war. The remaining passengers included women, children, and some relatives of the soldiers. On February 23, 1852, the Birkenhead docked briefly at Simon's Town, near Cape Town. Most of the women and children disembarked, along with several sick soldiers. They also loaded some horses for the final leg of the voyage. It was already late, so to make the best possible speed, Captain Robert Salmon decided to hug the South African coast, setting a course that kept the ship generally within 3 miles of the shore. The ship maintained a steady speed of 8.5 knots using her paddle wheel. The sea was calm, and the night was clear. As usual, 2 sailors were on watch, and another sailor was checking the depth of the sea. Everything was going smoothly, so Captain Salmon handed over command to the next officer and went to his cabin to sleep. However, there was an uncharted rock slightly submerged underwater. This rock was visible in rough seas, but not immediately apparent in calmer conditions. Unfortunately, the ship followed the same route and ultimately struck a rock. The captain rushed to the deck and ordered the engines to be stopped and the anchor to be dropped. Immediately, water began flooding the lower decks. All the women, children, and soldiers moved to the upper decks. The captain ordered the lifeboats to be prepared and instructed women and children first. Colonel Seaton also commanded his soldiers. Not a single soldier is to board the lifeboats. Women and children first. He reminded them that it was the soldiers' duty to save civilians before themselves. Finally, the women, children, and a few men enter the lifeboats. Colonel Seaton ordered all the soldiers to gather and stand on the deck. Every soldier followed the colonel's orders, and not a single one attempted to escape. They understood why the colonel did not allow them to flee. If they tried to escape by jumping into the water, they risked endangering the lifeboats. Earlier, when the flooding began, they had already untied the horses to give them a chance to survive. All the soldiers stood firm, showing no fear of death as the ship began to sink. Some soldiers were pulled under the water. Captain Salmon and Colonel Seaton tragically lost their lives. A few soldiers managed to escape and began swimming toward the shore, but fate was against them. Shark attacked them. However, some soldiers and horses successfully swam to safety and reached the land. The following day, another ship, the Lioness, rescued some of the surviving soldiers. Soldiers were court-martialed as a result of the accident. However, the committee ultimately decided that all the soldiers were heroes of the country. The incident became a symbol of courage, discipline, and self-sacrifice. The phrase women and children first became a standard protocol in maritime emergencies, inspired by the actions of Captain Salmon, Colonel Seaton, and the soldiers on the HMS Birkenhead.